Did you know that you have officially completed 3 weeks? And while I was doing the content of this program, I didn't know that I could pull off 26 weeks worth of content. That is 130 broken up videos. And at one point I said to myself, Priya, don't get overwhelmed. Just get started. That is how you cover the whole distance and you cover the whole journey. And I was making the videos and I was not just writing the playbooks for you, I was also filling it myself. And I tell you, I reached this point of no return, and I suspect you are like me. I suspect that we are like-minded. We share a common bond. And I came to this place, and after this, there was no question, can I do this? I wanted to do this. It was almost as if all my life, 26 years, I was training and doing the job that I was doing, helping people to come up with this formula to share with the larger audience. That I, for the first time, became a student in my own class, because while I was putting this content for you, I was trying it on myself to see that being in the position that I am, can this and will this still help me? And I have reached a point where there is belief and certainty and excitement for the future. And I am guessing you might just be in the same place. And let me tell you a story. And if you can resonate with it, the next few weeks are going to be magical, filled with power, filled with excitement, and filled with the attitude of, I'm going for it. And anything that comes my way is going to be out. Okay, so the story is of a Patanga. Patanga is a Hindi word for moth. The moths have an affinity for light, for the flame. And it is said that the lifespan is very short, that it goes to the flame, lives its destiny, and then dies. Well, I don't know about it. I haven't followed the Patangas and the moths that closely, but the story is about a moth and the flame. So there was this class of these moths, okay, who were learning that what is it about the flame? And if I really have to die, what kind of flame, what kind of setting should it be? So there was this wise Patanga, the wise moth. It took all the moths to by a tree. Now nearby was a temple, and they said at the heart of the temple was a flame that never went out. It was divine. It held in it the seeds of wisdom and enlightenment. And it said that if you ever looked at that flame, or if you had the opportunity to witness it, it would change your life forever. And the teacher gave the Patangas a task. You have to fly into the temple, witness the light, witness the wisdom and the divinity, and come and tell us how your life changed in that moment. Okay, so there were like about 7-8 Patangas. So one fellow volunteered, I will go first. He went in and they all waited. And about half an hour later, that fellow came back flying a different flight. And then the teacher asked, so what happened? He said, oh my God, the flame was extraordinary. I looked at it and I knew my purpose. And he went on to say how excited he was for the rest of his life and so on. And the teacher looked down, shook his head, and said, no, you missed a very big point. Now the others straightened up, because when one person fails, you're like, oh my God, okay, so that's the wrong answer. I have to come back with a different answer. So the next Patanga flew in, okay, and he went in, spent about 15-20 minutes and came back very solemn, and he said, oh, I experienced the Lord. It spoke to me and I have an inner voice and, the works. So while what he said was very moving and touching, the teacher shook his head and said, no, you didn't get it. Okay, now the third Patanga went in and said, pressure is mounting up very high, that what answer is he going to come up with? So he spent about 45 minutes this time trying to get it right. And he came out, overwhelmed with tears in its eyes. And he says that, I saw the source of the universe and I saw my life's purpose. I saw my whole life unfold in front of me and what I was born to do and what my purpose is, etc. And he really gave some beautiful words of wisdom and life. And the teacher looked at him solemnly, shook his head and said, no. Now there were no volunteers. Nobody wants to go because you're going in, you're coming back with messages and the teacher doesn't accept it. So there was this one little tiny Patanga, and it said, I'll go. Now he goes in. All right. And half an hour goes by, 45 minutes goes by, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, and now it's nearing daylight and all the others are getting worried. Hey, what happened? He didn't return. What is happening? So they waited a few minutes longer and now they knew that the day would break and then their time is up. So while the others were worrying that, what shall we do now? The teacher smiled and he said, he has seen the light. Because when you see the light, you don't come back. You are it. You move on with it. You don't come back to reality. Imagine you spend so much time doing what you have to do. Now you're going to go back to distractions just to inform them. Are you going to go back to the life that you left? Are you going to go back and do the things that you struck off? No, you're not. And you know what? When you cut that route, when people are waiting for you to come back to make the U-turn, and they can feel good that, see, I told you so, he'll come back. All this is just 2-3 weeks of excitement, and then it's all back to square one. It is when somebody moves beyond that point of no return. It is because they have seen the light, they have internalized it, they have understood it, and they don't want to tell anybody about it. They don't want to go back and say, oh, look how great I've become, see what I have learned, and what a bright future I will create for myself. They move on. The light shines through them, that when the others go looking to see where the Patanga went, they will find him. Where the light is, they will come and find him. He's not going back. And you know what? This is the point where I knew I'm not going back. I'm going forward with this. I am going forward with anybody who wishes to align with me, who has a similar purpose, that although I have reached here and some people may say that I'm very successful by their standards, there is still more. I want to see you successful, and that is my new purpose. While I made it and I am singular one, I want to see 1 billion people make it, and I shall not rest till that happens. There may be a lot of people waiting for me to come back and tell my story. But you know what? To know what I did, they will have to find me, and they will find me with you. That is my commitment. And guess what? You have reached a point from where I am not going to let you come back, because I have seen your potential. I have followed what you have done. I have read your playbooks, and this is stuff that will change the world, yours and the larger one, yours and mine. And while the world changes any which ways, what you and I are doing together is progress, is success, is growth. And I am there with you. So I'm concluding this week with certainty and promise on your behalf. There is no going back. I'm not. I am on with you, and I'm taking you along. That's a decision I have made. Write to me. Tell me how it's going for you. Write your successes. I love reading it in the email, the notes, the WhatsApp messages. Communicate with me. Hey, why don't you make a little video and send to me? I would love to see you in person and hear from you. You've been seeing me all this time. I want to connect with you in the same way. So are you going to do that? I'm going to wait. I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and I'm going to wait, ramming my fingers on the desk. Where is it? Where is it? Who's showing up? I think this is a really, really exciting journey. And if you've made it so far, I promise you a roller coaster of fun, laughter, adventure ahead. So let's get the communication going. Until next week, work on your goals, polish them, work on your strengths, work on your talents, work on your purpose, and work on your self-image. And as you do all of that, remember to connect with me. Okay then, see you next week.